or you saucy little manifestors, guess what I just thought to myself that I'm amazing at doing? Outsourcing. So someone just made a post on this on the Manifestor community. They're like, what do people outsource? And I was like, oh my God, I fucking love this topic because I am here to literally find quicker and easy ways to do life. And then I was thinking to myself, I think to myself all the time, I think this is just a generic a manifestor thing where I think that like everyone's dumb. Like literally I'm just like, yeah, you're dumb, that's dumb. Why the fuck are you doing that? That's dumb. I just instantly think to myself all the time, what is an easier way of doing things? Instantly. So I thought I would go through with you and list out some of the things because hopefully some of these things that I've done to fast track myself might actually help you. And there's a bit of stigma around fast tracking. So actually let's talk about that first before I give you my list of things. So I had picked up a belief system that I identified where humans typically say, and this comes from the Bible as well, and I'm not religious, but they say, says something along the lines in the Bible that you will be forgiven of your sins if you choose the harder way. I'm going to give you an idea. I'm going to give you an example. So say, for example, you got fat and you got shamed for being fat, but then if you found a fast track way to lose weight, you're not really congratulated as much for finding the fast track way, but you will be congratulated if you slogged at the gym and fucking starved yourself to lose the weight. So it's just like, if you did the hard way to get the result, then only then are you congratulated or you applause. But if you were able to find some sort of way of fast tracking your results, or not necessarily cutting corners, but just finding a better, easier way to do things, then it's like completely sinful. I'm just not that type of person. Like, fuck that. Fuck people's opinions. Like, I'm literally all about doing life easier. Funnily enough, my main company, my main business, my motto is how to build wealth with ease to find the highest ROI on life. So I've always been the person to be like, well, we'll find a bloody easier way. So anyway, here are a couple of the things that I've just thought of, and I'm going to start collecting these ideas because I've realized there's probably been numerous amount of times that I've done this in my life. So number one, I did a course at the start of 2024, or middle of 2024, and this course was to really, really go deep on personal development, on basically highlighting all of your shadows and going extremely, extremely deep on your biggest wounds to be able to find them, surface them, and then acknowledge them. Now, this program, it was 3 days. I'm not shitting you. The first, there's 2 days, it was 12 hours. And there's the third day, was technically the middle day, was up to 18 hours. So you were locked in this room for 40 hours in order to get these results. Now, I, as a clean manifestor, I got in there. It's a really small community. My best friend really wanted me to do it. I got in there, and I'm not shit you. I got quarter of the way through day 2, and I'm like, I got it. Like, I understand what you're trying to achieve here. I had this light bulb moment. I was like, my kinesiologist can do this for me in a 1 hour session. And I'm like, you want me to sit here locked up in this dark room for 40 hours when I can go and hire someone else that I've already been doing that same work with, and I can get to the same results in an hour to an hour and a half session? I was like, this is bullshit. So anyway, obviously I planned my escape out of the room because they literally like take your phones off you and shit, like you couldn't leave. Anyway, found my way out. That's another story for another day. So anyway, that's another example of just like, right, person A has a tool or a solution to get these results. And I was like, there's a one over here that I already know of, so I'm just going to continue doing that one. So that's number one. And that was real like personal development type of work, really, really deep stuff. Now that guy's changing lives, and that program works for a lot of people. But now I start telling people, I'm like, wouldn't you just rather go to this other option through a kinesiologist and just find that? Anyway, so there you go. Oh, here's another one. So weight loss. So I used to be a really big girl, and I don't know, 3 or 4 years, 3 years ago. I don't know how long ago it was now, probably 3 years ago. I decided to have weight loss surgery. How cool. So I decided, rather than dealing with all the emotional side of stuff, which, by the way, you have to. And rather than slugging through and pushing through physically to lose the weight, I thought there was a tool here that can help me. And I lost a shitload of weight. I lost 35 kilos, and it was just mentally hard as opposed to physically hard, because it fucking oath, it bloody surfaced all the problems, the emotional eating problems of thinking that you need to eat a whole entire bowl of bloody rice and pasta and shit, and the emotional baggage that you have to deal with. It just surfaces it to the top. It comes up much more quicker and harder, I personally believe, but you have to face it. You've got no other way out. Like, it's physically, you have a restriction there. They cut at your stomach these days. You have no other option. So it's just like, it's fucking there. And it was literally the best thing I ever did with my life. Second best thing. First thing was finding my wife. But the second thing was definitely having that operation. So, and a lot of people in the fitness industry would look down upon me, so because I remember going to this one event where someone was like, geez, you lost a lot of weight, Liv. And I was like, yeah, thanks. Like, how'd you do it? I'm like, it's had weight loss surgery, man. Just cut out my stomach. And then they were like, she was just in shock. And she was like, oh, like, because I could tell that I knew she was famous for being somebody who works out, slogs out, and gets up at 4 a.m. and pushes through hard and goes for that run when they need to and, like, really restricts their food. And I'm like, great. You did it that way? I'm fucking not. Fast track option. Anyway, people choose life hard, honestly. Okay, next one for me was renovating. So I'm a property coach in Australia, for those who don't know, and I help people build wealth with ease. And essentially what I do is I was like, I knew I wanted to be rich and get wealthy and whatever, and I was like, okay, I'm a high school dropout, I'm dyslexic as fuck, I can't read, I don't have any qualifications, good networking, good at sales, all of that sort of stuff. But I also want to do something easy. And then I saw, okay, well, you make money in real estate. And then there's this one way where people go in there, like real tradies would go in and just like flip properties, like, renovate. And that was like sweat equity. And I was like, renovations are fucking hard. They nearly pulled relationships apart. I have slightly renovated one property and I'll never do it ever again. So I found a team to partner with who had found AI instead. So you got to pay a little bit more to get it and have that done for you. But I'm like, I'd rather fucking pay a few $1,000s to have somebody else do the heavy lifting, have a guarantee, have the data, and so that way the property just grows in value whilst I sleep, as opposed to renovating it with my sweat equity. And that renovating way is just an old school way it's heavily done in America primarily, and a lot of Aussies still do it because they think that that's the only way to do it. Whereas like nowadays we have AI and technology and data is way more advanced than what it was 5 years ago. So anyway, AI all the way just for building wealth. Okay, which brings me to my second thing is then I started in business, and then I realized, hang on a second, I saw so many of my friends starting new businesses, and the first things that they were doing with their profits to grow their business was hire staff. Now, I will never forget this I just got complete Manifestor knowing. When I started my business, I said I just kind of knew from interviewing people, the biggest thing that business owners complain about, number one, was staff. And the second thing was systems and tools. Like they just got pissed off with it. And it could be something small like their invoicing system, right? Like, I've got my gardener who's always like, complaining about his bloody invoicing. I'm like, mate, you could just all these problems are solvable today. We're in 2025. Anyway, so I would get into business and I saw all of my friends using their profit to train and hire staff. And now they say on average for each staff member, you should have 2 times their wages in advance already. So if you're going to hire someone for an $80,000 wage, you should have at least $160,000 put aside for that, because there's going to be heaps of turnover. Typically, not heaps of turnover. You've also got a budget for the fact that you need, if they do leave, you need the rehiring costs and no work there being done as you're training them back up again for the first 3 months. Anyway, so I thought to myself when I was younger starting my company, I was like, okay, so people complain about staff being the number one problem. Great. I'm going to create a $20 million company with 0 staff. Like that was my goal. Anyway, and some people are like, well, how do you do that? And I'm just like, automation and AI. Again, something I just had this knowing. They're like, how do you do that? I'm like, I don't know. So you know what? I'm just going to go find someone and hire an automation and AI company, which I did. And so now I've got the best guy in the globe who really holds my hand, and he helps implement all of these tiny little automation and AI-based stuff in my business. So basically, he goes through and says, okay, where's a manual task here? Is there a manual task there? What manual task are you doing? And now I'm in the process, and I'm in the habit of saying and thinking to myself, is this a manual task? Do I know if this could be automated? Why not just ask the automation guy? So I now have an automation king, and I'm like, right, this task pisses me off. I don't want to do it. Let's see how automation can do it first, or AI. And I won't typically have this as customer facing things either. I truly believe, especially marketing, customer facing should be done by me. But there's so many tasks out there in the back end. So I just kind of think it's silly. The business owners go, oh, I'll hire staff, which is going to have a reoccurring payment forever, a wage to pay, whereas AI might take a little bit longer and a bit more patience to set up at the start. But then once it's done, it's done, and you never have to pay for it again. And then you don't have to deal with the emotional bullshit and baggage that comes with hiring humans. So I'm like, automation first. Wherever I go in business, automation first. And then the next thing where I've just thought of fast tracking myself as well is marketing to an audience that is not where my competitors are. How interesting. So, I'm a property coach. A lot of people will go out there and target ads, property ads and stuff like that, and target people who are looking at property. I actually don't. My marketing and my messaging is actually completely different, so that when they come to me, they're actually the first person, and typically the only person that they're exposed to in such a niche that I have, so that they don't go to a whole bunch, so that they're not getting fed all of my competitors' information, so that then it's easier for me to convert them. And so now it's just purely based on value. And if they do the competitors do eventually come up in the algorithms, then guess what? They already know me. They've already built a brand with me. And because also, to top it off, obviously brand is strong. Therefore, guess what that means? Well, now it's easier, isn't it? Because I'm already there. They've already built the trust with me. So anyway, I just think the way that people do shit is so much more harder than what it needs to be. And I don't know why I'm doing this episode, but I feel like I met this, had a psychic reading about a month ago, and I haven't done that in years and years and years, because typically I use a lot of my guides through kinesiology. And this psychic, there was a whole bunch of shit that they said, but the one thing that they did say in there was, the next business or the next thing that you're going to build is going to be a bit more generic, a bit more high level, but it's about helping people do things easier. And I was like, oh my God. And this guy had no idea that my business tagline is how to build wealth with ease to get the highest ROI on life. Like, he didn't know that. I mean, he could have stalked me a little bit. I doubt he did. But yeah, I was just like, whoa, what's the next fucking thing going to be? Anyway, I'm so excited for the next creative urge. Like, I'm just ready, and I'm roaring, and I'm like, I'm setting aside time right now, and I'm just automating as much as I can in my current business, so that by the time the next creative urge comes in, bang, I could put in so much effort. So I'm just really relaxing, taking time to sit with it, really receiving a lot of the hard work that I put in. And so that way, the next thing that I can build is going to be global as opposed to just Australian based, which will be so fucking exciting. No idea what it is. I just know it's going to be global. I know it has to be something that's online that can give me the time freedom. It has to be at least give me the same level of freedom choices that I have now. I can't go backwards. I won't go backwards. And it has to be something I can sell. So anyway, that's going to be so interesting. Thanks for watching. I hope you had fun.